Hi everyone, my name is Maitane Iruretagoyena, and today I'm going to talk about hyper-efficient places of living. So we already have defined what is a walkable community with everything we need within a walking distance. But now we must rethink our urban spaces from an environmental, economic, and social performance. So traditionally, we've always focusing just in the environmental performance of it, but this needs to change. So if we look into Kendall Square here in Cambridge, residential energy use accounts roughly 50% of greenhouse gas emissions. This is an estimate of 5.2 tons of CO2 per person per year. 10% of these emissions are attributed to the embodied energy, like construction and maintenance. And the 90% are attributed to the operational energy, like lighting, cooking, or use of appliances. So we have to rethink the environmental performance of the urban spaces. So what are the ways of reducing these emissions? So we have two solutions. One is reduce the use of fossil fuels and use more distributed low-carbon energy systems. And secondly, we can rethink the use of space. How if we can build less per person? What if we can build smaller and design efficiently so we can cut the embodied and the operational energy both to half? So, because these three aspects are equally related. If we want to target the CO2 emissions, we have to rethink how we build, and we will see a consequence in the cost. So we have seen, so with these solutions, we can improve the economic performance, reducing the prices of the apartments, and making them more affordable to people. So we have seen some solutions in the past with the traditional Japanese houses where they use these sliding doors called fusuma. So they can transform these big spaces depending on the time, the occasion, and the purpose. Sometimes these big spaces are used for parties or for big gatherings, and at others, these small spaces are divided into more private rooms. And this is achieved through a door of wooden frame with a cover of a translucent sheet of paper. But we have our 21st century solution, like it's effortless and automated. So, because we want to create more vibrant, affordable, and creative spaces. So in our City Science Lab, we are working in developing these strategies where people can live and work. So we are developing scalable, hyper-efficient, and technology-enabled solutions because we believe that urban space is too variable to be static. So in one of our projects, we demonstrate that a 300 square feet apartment can function 2-3 times that size. So this is achieved through a transformable wall system that integrates furniture, storage, lighting, or entertainment system. So the living room can be transformed to a dinner party or a party itself. And also the living room can be transformed to the living room or a gym. So what about the social performance? With these solutions, we are bringing more people together. We are increasing the social interaction, the density, and diversity in urban spaces. We have seen this in Paris during the Industrial Revolution, when a massive population moved toward the cities, and this led to a new building hierarchy called Haussmannian. These buildings were designed to accommodate a variety of social classes. So, for example, we could see in the ground floor spaces for commercial purposes. In the second and the third floor, like floors in between, high-income families were living with high ceilings, far from the street. And in the upper floors, like the attics, is where the smallest rooms were located, and low-income families like servants, maids, and artists were living. So we want to make cities a better place to live. We want cities more enjoyable, innovative, sustainable. So as a result, we have to focus in working on the environmental, economic, and social performance of the buildings if we want to make more efficient, more affordable, and more socially diverse spaces. So with this solution, we will see a reduction in the CO2 emissions in residential buildings to 8.2 CO2 per person per year. And now that we have defined the urban spaces where people will live and work, Naroa Coreti will talk about the mobility system that will connect them. Thank you very much.